Narcissistic baiting. What is it and how do you handle it? That's what I'm covering today. Let's do it. Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tammy M. Joyce. I'm an empowerment life coach specializing in codependency and narcissistic abuse recovery for empaths, scapegoats, and awakening light leaders. If you're new to my channel, a very special welcome. Please take a second to say hello and introduce yourself in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell so you never miss a new video. So let's talk about narcissistic baiting. What is it and how do you handle it? First of all, narcissistic baiting is when a narcissist intentionally does and says things to either suck you into a confrontation or further escalate an ongoing conflict for their own advantage. It's a form of gaslighting, targeting, and manipulation all wrapped up into one mean-spirited, toxic little package. And they do this quite deliberately by doing and saying whatever they know is most likely to trigger a negative response from you. They'll say nasty things to escalate an argument, and it won't matter one iota whether or not the nasty things are true, so long as they serve to either fluster, insult, or upset you enough to get a reaction out of you. From that point on, you'll notice they're not interested in discussing what actually happened, nor will they want to discuss what was said that was so hurtful, vile, mean, or disgusting, but rather they'll only want to focus on your reaction. And that's the point. It was a setup, and it was deliberate. And if you're dirt honest with yourself, you'll have to acknowledge the extent to which you were played by the toxic little creep who, for whatever reason, felt entitled to target you in this fashion. Now, on that note, there's a number of reasons why narcissists do this, but the main goal behind this baiting tactic boils down to this: manufacturing a full sense of empowerment and superiority for themselves, as well as to gain dominance or a more dominant posture in relation to you. It's also a deliberate strategy designed to push you over the edge in the hopes of getting you to react with anger and hostility, if nothing else, out of sheer frustration. So now they get to point the finger at you. See, you're crazy. You're the problem here. Not me and my appalling attitudes and behavior. That couldn't be it. It's obviously you. Look how unhinged you are, how unreasonable you're being. It's emotional abuse, friends, nothing less. The game is to do and say things they think will throw you off balance, anger, or enrage you so they can be empowered by your negative reaction. By provoking and destabilizing you, they're at the very least hoping to create a sense of flustered defensiveness in you. And then they'll poke, and provoke some more, so ultimately you go boom, while they stand there calm, cool, and collected. So don't kid yourself. None of this happens by accident. Destructive narcissists know exactly what they're doing. They deliberately bait their target by purposely doing and saying the exact things they know will trigger a negative reaction. The more intense the negative reaction, the better for the narcissist. And anything that might annoy, taunt, diminish, demean, hurt, mock, anger, or trigger a rage response will do. And again, if successful, this serves them well because now they get to contemptuously blame you, shame you, and cast themselves as the victim and you the big bad villain. Furthermore, they're most likely to use baiting under certain circumstances. Like, for example, they'll use baiting as a manipulation tactic in order to get their own way or get whatever it is they want. They'll use baiting to deflect responsibility and attention away from their own failings, shortcomings, and relationship crimes. They'll use baiting in an attempt to hide their complete and utter lack of competency, rationale, reason, or intellect. They'll also use baiting, like I said, in an attempt to assert a full sense of power, superiority, and dominance in the relationship. And this goes for any relationship, by the way, not just romantic or family. Baiting happens anywhere you find people who land on the spectrum of destructive narcissism, and especially when said destructive narcissist feels exposed or is threatened by you in any way. In other words, they'll especially use baiting when they know the mask is slipping and they're being seen for who and what they actually are. If a narcissist senses you're not likely to fall for the "I'm such a good guy" or girl dog and pony show they've got going on, you're more likely to be the target of this particular brand of narcissistic manipulation and abuse. Regardless of the motivation, it's happening because it's clear they're losing power and control over the dynamic, and they don't like that. Remember, narcissistic baiting is about a false sense of power, superiority, and dominance. And this baiting tactic is all they've got, their only tool in the shed, so to speak. Well, that along with the smear campaign, but we'll save that for another video. Believe it or not, narcissists actually get a sick kick out of triggering a high voltage negative reaction in anyone who is either onto them or isn't going to be easily manipulated, controlled, or deceived by their bullshit. It feeds their ego if they can succeed in making you look wrong, bad, unstable, or less than in any way. They rather enjoy getting you hooked into their toxicity and dysfunction. And the more intensely you react to them, the more you lower yourself to their level and become dysfunctional right along with them, the more convinced they become that they're better, superior, and the only adult in the situation. And that's some crazy making shit right there, all things considered. But again, the bottom line is, more than anything, they'll use baiting for no other reason than to make you look bad to others. And if successful, the big win for the narcissist is, like I said, they now get to point the finger at you and say, "See, I told you he or she is crazy, insane, unstable," or better yet, the narcissist. And here's the thing. Narcissists can't lose. So when engaging with them, know this: the moment you're making sense, shining a light on their problematic thinking and behaving, and they know they don't have a leg to stand on, they know you're onto them, you see right through them, all they have left is baiting, slinging mud, even if it's completely fabricated and all made up right out of the ether. They'll use and say whatever it takes. And it can happen in a nanosecond. And before you know it, you've taken the bait. They'll catch you off guard when you're weak, tired, or distracted. And alone is good too. This way no one else sees or hears what they say to deliberately provoke you. And when you blow, you become grade A narcissistic supply for the narcissist. Now comment below and tell me whether or not you've ever taken the bait with a destructive narcissist. Let me know in the comments section below. And if you'd like to learn more about the possibility of working with me in my 8-week transformational coaching program, the Freedom Class, there is a link in the description below where you can apply to see if you qualify for a free one-on-one consultation with either myself or a member of my team. Now, not surprisingly, something that often goes hand in hand with narcissistic baiting is triangulation. Triangulation is when one person in a conflict tries to pull a third person into the dynamic by bringing up what they've supposedly said or what they might think, that sort of thing. They do this with the goal of deflecting attention away from themselves, taking the spotlight off of the original issue, as well as to reinforce their false sense of rightness and superiority. Because narcissists are generally insecure and therefore can't stand on the firm foundation of their own opinion, facts, or data. And usually because they don't have accurate facts or data. So they have to pull someone else into the argument. Again, even if they're just making it up. So when the narcissist says, "So-and-so said this," or "So-and-so thinks such and such about you," there's a clue. This type of thing is said purely to paint you as the bad person, as well as deflect attention away from their own appalling attitudes and behavior. And however they may have dropped the ball, shown themselves to be negligent, incompetent, or not too bright even. So they'll use triangulation to prop themselves up and further bait you into reacting to their nonsense. And here's something else you want to be on the lookout for: the setup before the setup. This is where they'll show up acting all nicey-nicey, maybe even drop a compliment or two, to soften you up. Naturally, this may cause you to make the mistake of giving them the benefit of the doubt. And you think to yourself, maybe they're not that bad after all. They seem to be making an effort, trying to get along. Isn't that nice? They'll also use future faking and false promises to lead you down the garden path. This is one way the wolf shows up in sheep's clothing with deliberate intent to get you to drop your guard, so you don't see the sucker punch coming. They'll approach you with a mild-mannered, non-confrontational posture, extending the fake olive branch by initiating the conversation with a soft-spoken, seemingly kind and empathetic approach, and say something like, "But why can't we just have a civil conversation?" In particular, if they know you're onto them and your guard is already up. And when you fall for it, they've got you where they want you, engaged, cornered even. Then comes the sucker punch, or more accurately, punches. Not good. So be prepared and do not fall for this crap. Engaging with a narcissist who is intent on setting you up to look bad or win at all costs is not likely going to end well. And here's why. You'll never ever get the narcissist to understand the detrimental impact that their self-absorbed, irresponsible, downright toxic and harmful thinking and behavior is having on you, or anyone else for that matter. It's never going to happen. If they're aware on any level, you can rest assured they enjoy it. That's the level of mental, emotional, and spiritual sickness you're dealing with when you're dealing with a destructive narcissist. Trying to get through to them is a colossal waste of time and energy. Your insight into who they are will have zero effect on their willingness or ability to change. Quite the opposite, actually. It's probably going to be the very thing that will make you a target. So how do we handle it? Well, in my view and experience, how well we handle it depends on a number of factors, not least of which how well we're taking care of ourselves at any given time. When we're highly triggerable because we have yet to heal our own unresolved wounding and trauma, and we're still exposing ourselves to toxic people who feel entitled to target us on any level, we're going to be a whole lot more likely to take the bait. And as a result, we're a whole lot more fun for narcissistic types to play with. Now that said, even when we've done our work, if we're stressed out, sleep deprived, or carrying feelings of fear and anxiety for any reason at all, it may not take much for a narcissistic bully to come along and push just the right buttons so we go boom. And here's what I know for sure. It's not always easy, or humanly possible for that matter, to remain calm, cool, and collected in the face of a highly deceptive, incredibly manipulative, and extremely toxic and self-centered human. In particular, if and when we're halting in any way, meaning hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. These are things of our own they teach in 12-step recovery to be on the lookout for. Needless to say, we're going to be a whole lot more sensitive when any combination of these factors are at play, especially if extremely so. And the truth is, sometimes we're going to drop the ball, take the bait, give our power away, and let them have it. And when this happens, the least productive thing we can do is judge ourselves harshly and beat up on ourselves for not getting it right, or momentarily backsliding into our worst selves. It happens to the best of us, friends. That said, the most productive thing we can do is to continue to take our own inventory with radical honesty, compassion, patience, love, and a whole lot of grace for ourselves. We don't let ourselves off the hook or give ourselves a pass, but nor do we hate all over ourselves. What we do is look for the lesson or lessons and squeeze as much gold and growth out of a less than ideal situation as we possibly can. And then we move on with dignity, self-love, self-respect, and a decision to do better next time. On that note, a big part of doing better is making extreme self-care a lifestyle, while distancing ourselves from toxic, manipulative, and/or otherwise duplicitous, disingenuous, and deceptive people. It's a whole lot harder for narcissistic types to bait us into showing up as our worst selves, for their own gain in particular, when we're well-rested, well-nourished, calm, cool, and collected. And it's a whole lot easier to show up as our best selves when we're not engaging with ill-intended, entitled, toxic little toddlers walking around pretending to be adults in adult bodies. And if you took the bait, forgive yourself. Learn your lesson and move on, while putting as much distance between you and the narcissistic bully as you can possibly manage. Remember, they don't change. And when it comes to getting better at not taking the bait, the more you do your personal healing and recovery work, the more you exercise self-care as an ongoing lifestyle, the more you're armed with the right information specific to narcissistic tendencies and traits, the more that's going to empower you to not give your power away. The bottom line is this: narcissists are nothing if not predictable. Once someone has shown you who they are, do not let your guard down with that person. Do not allow yourself to slip into codependent amnesia and be seduced into being set up. Again, it happens to the best of us, but the better you take care of yourself on every level, the stronger you'll become in the face of this nonsense, and the better you'll become at seeing it coming and sidestep it altogether. Now with that, I'm going to call it a wrap. But don't stop now. I have well over 100 more videos right here on YouTube for you to watch to help you better understand the detrimental effects of narcissistic abuse, and more importantly, learn what you need to do now to heal from the abuse so you can start living your best life in peace, confidence, and freedom. And if you want to go deeper with me, go to tammymcoaching.com and learn about my unique tried and true process garnered over decades of experience, and learn how you can become my client.